What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. No more speculation on everything. All the events are live, and we will be going over and breaking down exactly what we need to do to get Fabian's 5-star soul in his hero's path. So let's jump right into it. All right, guys. First things first, quick pit stop here at the calendar. We see the Fabian 5-star soul event after party event. It's going to line up basically with the last day of the 6th anniversary event. We also see that the progressive events will last the entire duration. If you guys don't know, there are progressive events 15x boosts for different sets of champions every day. I will quickly provide the data right here. So each day will have a separate set of progressive boosts on these champions if you guys want to find out. I didn't cover this yesterday, but if you guys want to find out, make sure you guys take a screenshot of this list of champions so you guys are aware of what's happening. General quick overview and comments on these champions. They're kind of mid for most of them, or they're good above average, but not really any of them are standouts, at least for the non-voids. For the voids, there are some very good champions that you may go actually kind of crazy for example, but there's not really any kind of like SS tier, champion there. Although, some of them are quite insane. I will say that the back half of the events do have some better champions. For example, on the second last day, you have Kaimar there. You have Hegemon, which is kind of live arena meta nowadays. You have Narcissus there as well. And then on the last day, you do have Mishinaki, which is really good Hydra champion. You have a Crizia there, etc. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the the progressive list here. But going back to the calendar here, so we have the after party path event, and then we have the Fire Knight event that just dropped. So the big thing about the Fire Knight is that there is actually a key in here, and the thing is, it's been revealed, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. And the other thing of importance that I want to bring out is that there is a dungeon diver starting tomorrow. Now, this might affect how you guys want to allocate your energy during this whole Heroes Path event. My suggestion is don't go crazy on day one in any kind of dungeon so you don't waste any dungeon points. So obviously wait until the dungeon diver is open, and then you can go crazy. At least you can get some extra double dipping points here while you're grinding out this path event. That would be my easy suggestion for you guys. Now, is this Fire Knight tournament worth doing at all? Let's take a quick look here. All right, so hopping into the tournament tab here. So yesterday, this Fire Knight tournament was released or announced a bit after the Heroes Path event was announced. So it was a bit of a surprise to see a key in here. We're going to hop in, and the key is as listed, 2750. We did have this information yesterday, 2750 for the key. What we didn't know was that whether it was one key or it could potentially have been two keys, but 2700 energy for this key. I say 2700 energy because you can pretty much do this kind of event with approximately 1-to-1 energy per point. So is this key worth 2700 energy? We're gonna have to take a quick look at that as we jump into the math for the Heroes Path. But keep in mind, this Fire Knight tournament is epic only. Epics only could make it very difficult for a lot of you guys, and maybe you guys will want to completely ignore this, perhaps. We will see. Obviously, not a lot of people are jumping into it, so maybe it's a bunch of easy rewards as well. Although the top 4 is not very enticing, but the 30 quartz here could be interesting for some people. All right, let's jump into the meat of this video here. So we got the after party path. Again, it's going to be training and summoning from from shards only. Let's jump into the breakdown of the points here. So we see the point spread here: 675 for the 6-star upgrade, 4500 for the Sacred Shard. This is in line. This is basically in line. I'm going to say that this point spread for the training part is actually kind of generous. I recall Bell's, for example. Bell's was less than half of this. So Bell's Deck of Fate, was training and a chase version of the summoning champions requirement. So chase is obviously easier than the Sacred Shard. That's probably why the Bell's festive Deck of Fate was more difficult, doing it by training. So this is not like Plarium fully turning the screws on everybody, like jacking up the price or whatever. But the points are not super terrible. And the shard points requirements are inline, 4,500 for the sacred, inline for what you expect normally. Moving on to the rewards in the hero's path here, we see the 4 and 5 star split souls, separated of course by the 2 keys here. We see 4 keys available across the middle, and then we see a frame here, and then we see the 3 star very interestingly placed, very, very deep, or at least far down in this hero's path. Let's break down the points for this, and we'll talk about this a little bit further. All right, so let's start at the beginning here. We're going to go for the 3 star soul. The outside paths are a little bit more expensive, mainly because the epic book and the epic ore here cost a little bit more than the 5 star speed glyph and the 500 coins here. So we want to focus in on the middle 2 paths. Those are the slightly cheaper ones. So let's do it hypothetically. So you start at the middle one. I like the gems here. They're worth more energy if you want to fully convert it. Gems are also more flexible, since you can buy stuff with it as opposed to energy. So you go down to energy. It doesn't matter. I guess we go with the rare book. I'd rather prefer these medium oils. And then the 5 star glyph is pretty nice. So let's do this. And then we have to get the key here. Again, these gems are worth more energy than this pile of energy here. After that, you can go either way. You can go for the medium stone or the 20 medium essence here. You can definitely cross over to 20 essence. It really depends on what you need. Maybe you're short some essences. I would probably say go for the essences, just because you can probably use them to buy stuff as opposed to just pulling stuff. We just had a pull event, so maybe you don't need the pulls right away. But just for the sake of graph clarity, I'm just going to go down this way. I'm going to go pick up the soul here at the bottom. All right, so that gives you a total of 32,250 points going down to the 3 star soul. It breaks down to about 7.17 sacred shards needed for a 3 star soul. Now, the 3 star soul for Fabian is probably totally fine. You get the HP boost, and then you get a little bit of defense on top. So if I were to suggest, and you were very low on resources, I think the 3 star soul is totally fine. But it's not really a high prized soul, because you can easily kind of build up the low end resources to buy Fabian souls in the shop. So obviously, if you don't have the sacred shards, it's not the end of the world to even participate in this. If you can't pick up the 3 star soul here, it's not the end of the world. You can definitely build it up in the shop for some cheap essences, so just to take some pressure off your shard totals. If you basically, like, to me, this path event feels like it's going to be 5 star or nothing. There is not much reason to go for the 4 star alone. So going from 3 star and then going to the 4 star and stopping short of the 5 star, it does not feel correct. Keep in mind that the 5 star here is 30,000 points. Somebody in the comments mentioned that they really needed to know exactly what the 5 star soul costs. In previous events, it cost 50. For example, the Noel fusion cost 50 just for the soul. In this case, it's costing 35. It is a split soul, so that is important. Now, what if you wanted to go for the 4 star soul? Let's say you had enough points and you wanted to go for the 4 star soul. You would basically have to pick up another key, open up the 2 key lock here, and then pick up the 4 star soul there. Of course, you have to pick up the 3 star soul in order to get the 4 star soul, unless you have a 3 star soul already. So what you would do here is, all right, again, to get the cheapest 4 star soul possible, you basically go down the other path in the middle because it's the cheapest one, and then you pick up the second key here. So with the 2 keys, you open the 2 key lock, and then you pick up the 4 star split. In total, the 4 star soul is going to cost you now 47,000 points, or about 10.5 sacred shards. So 10.5 sacred shards, if you guys want to visualize, is, you know, about 5,500 points in a summon rush, a usual summon rush. 5,500 points, so you're basically looking at picking up like an epic piece for like a fusion, for example, just to visualize what you're getting in return. So you're getting the 4 star soul for Fabian. Now the 4 star soul for Fabian, it's not super important because it's just crit damage. So you're not getting like much noticeable gains in terms of his stats. I would highly recommend not bothering for the 4 star soul. But if you had plans to build them out in the future, maybe it'll help you save a little bit of resources that way. It does cost 300 of the medium, red essence. So it does save you a little bit. And going from the 3 star to the 4 star is actually, not a significant gap. So you can definitely argue getting the 4-star soul could be probably worth it in terms of overall resources gained. But now let's talk about how we're going to actually get the main prize here, this 5-star split soul. Now the 5-star split soul is very, very useful for Fabian, obviously getting the plus accuracy, getting the boosted blessing as well. In this case, we need to find 2 more keys. Now, this is where the Fire Knight tournament does come into play. We do have a Fire Knight tournament active with a key available at the top threshold, 2,750 points. So 2,750 points for the Fire Knight key. So that is 1 key available, but is 2,750 points for that key, better spent there, or is that resource energy better spent doing training, for example? Let's break down the total cost of doing it this way first, and then we'll bring in the Fire Knight tournament points as well. All right, guys, so this is the path for the 5-star soul. If you guys want the 5-star soul, want everything from the 3-star soul, 4-star split, 5-star split, you must follow this. Go down the red, get the 3, and then you go down the purple, you get the 4. At the 4 mark, you're spending 47,000 points already. That's about 10.4 sacreds as indicated in the yellow. If you want the 5, you then go down the left and right, whatever reward you start with. You get both keys, the 3rd and 4th key, and then you unlock the key in the middle, and then you get the soul. In total, will cost you 106,000 points, or the equivalent of 22.4 sacred shards. As I mentioned in my previous video, I was expecting this to cost 20 sacred shards. That was based on previous Deck of Fates and Hero Path data that we already had. Most recently, we had the Queen of Hearts, which was about 14.5 sacred shards for the 5-star soul for the Queen of Hearts, or the Knave of Hearts. We also had the Lady Noelle fusion. Somebody else brought that up to me. It was 16.5 sacred shards for the Lady Noelle's 5-star soul. But then, if you guys remember, they did give us 1 sacred shard as a holiday bonus. In this case, Fabian's going to be better champion than probably those ones, arguably, but mainly because it was a kind of a hyped up fusion, to be honest, and probably more, impactful for more players. So I could see participation for the champion being higher. Therefore, based on the analytics that Plarium probably has, they probably anticipated that, hey, let's jack up the price on this, and people will still probably go for it because it's a great champion that would benefit a lot from this blessing. And, they're probably right. But yeah, 22.4 sacred shards for the whole shebang is very, very expensive, guys. This is like unprecedented expensiveness. But there are going to be some strategies here that might alleviate some of this shard dependency. So like I said, guys, you guys can pick up 1 key from the Fire Knight tournament. So if you guys pick up 1 key from the Fire Knight tournament, you guys can omit one of the green paths. So the green paths will be the most expensive paths, which is worth 9.3 thousand points. So each one of the far left or far right green paths are, basically worth about 2 sacred shards. So if you can complete the Fire Knight dungeon, there's a, like a 3x boost for Savage Gear going on. So maybe you guys prefer to do that. Obviously it is epics only, so it's a little bit more difficult. But if you prefer to just jam energy into that dungeon, you're going to get 1 key back, which is 9.3k points, which is 2 sacred shards. So you can save those 2 shards. But is that energy you put into Fire Knight better served in campaign? The answer is yes. If you want to just be maximum efficient with energy, you basically full ignore the Fire Knight tournament. Full ignore, because the 2700 energy you put into the Fire Knight to get the key will give you substantially more Heroes Path points if you just commit those energies towards campaign farming. Each energy roughly in this Heroes Path in campaign is worth about 7 points, if you want to think about it that way. So if you put in 2,000 energy into the Fire Knight, you're basically foregoing 14,000 points in the Heroes Path. Obviously, the key is only worth 9,000 points. Therefore, it makes the most sense to put the energy into campaign instead of Fire Knight. So if you guys want to be maximum efficient, basically just forget about the Fire Knight. It is a nice option for people that want to get some Savage Gear along the way and maybe do something different, because, training so much, your mind's going to be a little bit numb. But in terms of energy efficiency, just focus on campaign farming. All right, guys, so obviously the cost of this entire event is very prohibitive to a lot of players here. I strongly urge, if you have the capability of getting the 5-star soul, to go for it. But if you guys want to save a little bit of resources, here's a different strategy you guys might want to consider. How about considering fully skipping the 3-star soul, at least this back half leg here, because it is very, very expensive. And for 3-star soul, you can easily pick this up with kind of lower end resources in the shop. Not to say that the 3-star soul will show up in the shop immediately, but you have to build it up from 1 to 3. It could take a couple months. Now, I'm just going to say that right now. My Marius, for example, I've had since September, and it's stuck on a 3-star, and it's the end of March right now. So, you know, it's a little bit of RNG in the end, but it's going to save you a bunch of resources. So if we think about it this way, you're going to go down the red path here. You're going to cut off the red path right here. So you're not going to go for any of these big ticket items, which will cost you 23,000 points in total. This means that this way, by cutting the 3-star soul out, you're basically saving about 5 sacred shards. After that, you want to basically complete all of the middle keys, but you're basically saving 23,000 points from the grand total of 100,600 points, which gives us a grand total points of 77,600 points and a total equivalent cost of 17.2 sacred shards. Now, this path, the teal path, would only be used if you're going for the 4-star split and the 5-star split, leaving out the 3-star soul at the bottom here. This means that you have to basically find a 1, 2, and 3-star in the shop or from stones. Like I said, guys, there's no guarantee that this is going to work out. It's going to save you about 5 sacred shards. Now, is 5 sacred shards worth not being able to use Arman's 4 and 5-star soul for what could be 3, 4, 5, 6 months? That's basically the timeline I would probably provide you guys in terms of realistically finding his 3-star soul from the shop only. Also, you are allocating your resources away from other champions by looking for a Fabian's 3-star soul. So that's going to stall some progress on your other champions if you were thinking about that. You know what? If you had the 5 sacred shards, of course, you're going to go for the 3-star soul here. This is a emergency path for people with very, very low resources. If you have very, very low resources and you are questioning whether you can even complete this over 4 days, guys, keep in mind over 4 days. So you can get some dailies, you can get some regeneration energy, you can probably pick up some shards from clan boss and stuff. So it's over 4 days. So even though right now it looks pretty grim for you, you might still have a chance in 4 days. But I would highly recommend focusing in on this teal situation where you want the 4 and 5 stars. So at least lock those down. If you're in the conversation to get the 5-star soul, make sure you lock down the 4 and 5, because those are the high value souls. And then you can focus on the 3-star soul after. Of course, there's going to be, like I said, there's going to be potentially a delay in getting the 3-star soul. That's something to be aware of. But if you have no choice, that's not even here or there. If you have no choice, then you have to be okay with that. Either way, 17.2 sacred shards for a 4 split and a 5 split is super, super expensive, considering, like I said, Lady Noelle costs 16.5 for a 5-star perfect soul, which doesn't require any of the smaller ones. 16.5 for that, right? With the freebie as well, so 15.5. So this one, you know, Fabian's soul at 22.4 for the whole shebang is super expensive. The rewards are very, very weak as well. There's literally no legendary book down the path to get any of this stuff. Like, you can go very inefficiently to pick up legendary books the other way. So you're basically paying 22 sacred shards. Imagine this as a summon rush. 22 sacred shards. That's over, 11,000 points in a summon rush, and you don't get a single legendary book. You don't get a single mythical book. You know what I mean? It's really tough to swallow, guys. Like, it's really, really tough. Obviously, training, like I said, is the most player friendly because most people can do it. And the point structure for the training is not that bad. So if you want to fully break it down by training alone, like I said, roughly about 6 points per energy, you're looking at just about 16.7 16.7k energy. 16.7k energy for the whole thing. This will pay for the full 5-star split, so all the way 3-star and the 4-star. So 16.7k energy. This also includes partially leveling food just a little bit with brews. So obviously you're going to need a little bit of brews there. If you don't have brews, it's just going to cost you energy. And then this also factors you ranking up the champions as well. So you're basically building champions from 2-star all the way to 5-star, and then partially brewing them up and all that. But if you're doing this from campaign and training, it's not going to cost you a significant, crazy amount of energy. It's just going to take you a long time, and it's definitely going to help you, basically give up some of that shard, pressure, right? So I would highly recommend, this is day one, I would highly recommend you guys doing a bunch of brews, leveling, training related stuff on day one. Like I said, there's a dungeon diver that opens tomorrow. Then you will hammer the campaign with, basically your energy spend that you want to allocate towards this. In total, it's going to cost you about 5,200 gems if you want to do it this way with just training. So like I said, guys, make sure you guys try to double dip tomorrow for the dungeon diver. So save some of the campaign stuff or the crazy campaign stuff for tomorrow. Today, just kind of manage yourself. You guys can do some pulls, for example, pulling mystery shards, getting some food ready, for example. Sacred shards is still going to be the best bang for your buck in terms of value, but obviously we might be pretty low on sacred shards here, and the progressive events aren't really like slam dunks. And if you guys want to mix it up, jump into the Fire Knight. It's 2,750 points for the top key, which is, equivalent 1-to-1 for energy. But like I said, you can easily spend that energy in campaign training stuff, and you'll get more Heroes Path points out of it. So you have to see other benefit to doing the Fire Knight tournament, for example, like Savage Gear or more dungeon diving points and so forth, or maybe the Primal Quartz. But if you want to be maximum efficient with the energy, then you're just going to stay in campaign for the next 4 days and try to hammer this out. Ultimately, it'll come down to how much time you have and how much food you have ready to be for this training portion of it. And then you decide how much sacred shards and other various shards you want to pull to finish it off. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I know it's a little bit long, but it's pretty comprehensive. It definitely doesn't have any of the speculative stuff that's going on in other videos. So I want to make sure that you guys have full info. It's a little bit of a tough one here. We got 4 keys going on. We got the Fire Knight tournament going on. So hopefully this video kind of broke it down for you guys real well and gave you guys a clear indication of what you guys need to do. For me personally, I'm going to do exactly what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to organize myself, pull some small shards, get the food ready, use some brews today, level stuff up, save my big energy for tomorrow onward. And I'm going to be hammering the training portion of this as much as I can. And then on the last day or the second last day, I will consider pulling my shards, and then we'll finish off the soul. For me, I'm going to go for the 3-star. I'm going to get the whole shebang just because for me, there's really no point in waiting potentially 3 to 6 months to use this champion at its fullest. I'm hoping to cut the cost in half with just training, but of course that's going to be time dependent. It is my kid's birthday this weekend, so I will be pretty busy, but I'll try my best. Obviously, RSL Helper helps. If you guys don't have that, make sure you guys check it out. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Yeah, there's a lot of things to be outraged about, obviously, but I try my best to find the best way to try to do this. Yeah, it's tough sometimes. But anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.